could not necessarily give you details without causing a panic.
I see. But since we're co-creators of our reality, like you've been saying for the past couple of decades, we must have on some level created this.
Yes, of course.
But no one expected it coming.
Well, actually, that's not true.
Okay.
There were many on your planet that saw this coming from a long way away because they understand the mechanism that is working at hand here in a variety of levels. As we have said, the idea is multifold, but one of the more important ones is that the destruction of the ecological systems on your planet have given the idea of viruses that inhabit those systems the ability to go beyond their borders. Therefore, this is, in some sense, the consequence of the destruction of the natural ecological systems of your planet, and therefore a rebalancing is necessary. But nevertheless, you can still use this in a positive way, and you have begun to do so through the auspices of isolation and sequestering yourself and social distancing. It gives you an opportunity to go into a kind of monastic experience where you can take the time to examine and evaluate your belief systems and truly let go of the ones that don't serve you, because this pivotal moment we have labeled the eye of the needle. And without letting go of those fear-based beliefs, it will not be easy for you to pass through that very narrow eye of the needle as the self you really need to be on the other side to experience more acceleration in a positive direction. So this is all about taking the time and taking advantage of what you have created, whether it was created from negativity or positivity, to make sure that you are letting go of the self you no longer need to be, that no longer serves you, and streamline yourself down to the very core and essential self that will then be capable of more effortlessly passing through this passageway we have called the eye of the needle.
When you say you, you're talking to the individual and the collective mind.
I am.
And so are our ET friends just watching us and see if we can make this passage through the eye, or is there an assistance happening?
There is always an assistance, although some are also watching.
So will this eye passage through the eye of the needle be an actual acceleration to first contact?
Depends on what you do with it. Again, how you go through the eye will determine whether the idea of contact accelerates for some or decelerates for some. It depends on what you do with this moment. This is why this moment, as we have said, is pivotal and so absolutely crucial.
Are there timelines of Earth where this has not happened?
Absolutely.
But, and there's no way to wake up tomorrow and say we can be part of that timeline, is there?
There is always a way, but what are the probabilities? Since you have chosen to go through this experience, you will find again that while it may be possible, the probability may be more likely that you will go through the process with everyone else in your own way. But again, it matters not, because the way you choose to go through it will determine what you experience on the other side of the passage.
Right. So you're with us in this timeline, but are there timelines where you are also channeling to another Earth?
Yes, of course. And there are timelines where we're not channeling to Earth at all.
But the timelines you're channeling to Earth, is that through one conscious being we call Bashar, or you call Bashar, or are there aspects of you that are different in different timelines?
Some of them will recognize what you recognize as the idea of Bashar. Some of them will recognize something different as may be appropriate for their reality and their understanding.
But I'm asking you, are you aware of your channelings in those other timeline realities?
When I need to be, yes. I don't always need to be.
Mm-hmm. So I'm just trying to get a sense of the consciousness that you are, multidimensional, multifaceted, but present in the moment you're in. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, but the moment we are in may sometimes be multidimensionally experienced.
Mm-hmm. Another question about a slightly different subject, and it's something I've been thinking about, is Einstein in physics, where they say that the speed when you reach the speed of light,
Yes.
there's no time.
Yes.
So
Yes.
if light is coming from, let's say, 5 light years away, does that mean when it reaches here, we're actually seeing light that has arrived that's not 5 years from the past?
No, you are still seeing the idea of the light that existed 5 years ago when it left its origin point. You are mixing two different concepts up.
Okay.
Traveling, moving through space, time, is what creates what your scientists refer to as time dilation. Let me put it in a very simplified form. You have a 100% space-time. If you are not moving very much in space, then most of that 100% is experienced as time. But if you're moving through more space, then less of that 100% experience is experienced as time. You can only have the 100%. So if you're moving through space at 50% of the capacity, then you only experience 50% of the time. And if you are moving at 99% of the capacity of space, you only experience 1% of the time. You can't experience more than 100% total of space or time. So they have to take turns sharing that amount of 100% depending upon how much space you're occupying or how much time you're occupying. Do you understand?
I do. I get that. And that clears it up. Now, as we raise our molecular cellular vibration, we are actually moving closer to the speed of light.
In some senses, although the vibration, again, that you're referring to is something slightly different than what we're referring to as the speed of light in your physical reality. It's a different vector.
Mm-hmm. What is the vibration of cellular mass as it starts to ascend in frequency in the body and lift the body? Can you tell us?
You mean when it crosses the threshold from physical to non-physical reality?
Or back and forth. Yes, yes, yes.
333,000 cycles per second is the threshold barrier and border between physical and non-physical reality. But that 333,000 cycles per second is a measurement of a certain kind of vibrational frequency that your scientists don't even know about yet.
But we can get there by the mechanisms or the untapped software in our minds or brains. Is that
You
true?
get there by allowing yourself to align with the formula that we have always given all of you. That's why we have distilled the formula for you, because it is a description of the structure of existence and how it operates in your physical reality. So by acting on your passion every moment that you can to the best of your ability with no insistence or assumption of the outcome and remaining in a positive vibrational state no matter what manifests, you are literally in alignment with an accelerated energy that will constantly allow you to continue to expand. That's why we give you the formula. It is literally an instruction manual, no different than any instruction manual you would be given to learn to operate a piece of machinery. This is literally a description of the nature and structure of existence encapsulated and distilled down into a simple 4-step formula.
Right. I just want to ask if you're seeing a probable future for us. How long do you think it will be for this crisis will last? And
you are about halfway through. That's why we are talking about the eye of the needle at this time. You have experienced this in a concentrated form for about 3 to 3.5 months. It will continue roughly for another 3 to 3.5 months. But again, there may be other things that will happen beyond that. There may even be reoccurrences of this for some individuals. But in general, the passage you are going through now has been going on for about 1/4 of your year and will continue for about another 1/4 of your year. And then you will see what it is that you chose to be on the other side, and that will take you forward, depending upon how much you were capable of stripping away of those things that are no longer relevant for the you prefer to be.
And as far as contact with the extraterrestrial beings, are they just waiting or are they assisting somehow?
You are always being given assistance. But again, we all know that the choices is in your hands. Therefore, we are seeing what it is you choose, but we are not waiting. We always give all the assistance we can possibly give. We cannot give you any more assistance than you're already being given. So no one needs to ask for more assistance. You need to pay attention to the assistance you're already getting.
Can you describe the assistance that we're getting in case we're not paying attention to it?
Some of the assistance is in the idea of the adjustment of certain frequencies of energy that exist in the vortices around your planet to make it more smooth, shall we say, for you to go through transformation so it's not so bumpy, I believe you would call it. So we are attempting to smooth out the vibrational wavelengths of many of the collective vortices on your planet to make the ride a little bit more smooth. On the other hand, I have just given you an example of assistance by telling you, once again, about the formula.
Right. Is there anything else that we could do? Do you have any recommendations for supplements or exercises or breathing types?
What you are talking about are all the things we have always labeled as permission slips, and we believe you understand that concept. So whatever it is you are attracted to because your belief system at that moment of the attraction says this will work for you.
Right. I do have to say that the psychic space or the dream time realities seem to me be more vivid now. There seems
Yes.
to be static.
That's part of the transformation, is to break down the walls of solidity of the concept of physical reality and realize that you are living a dream. Therefore, it will become a little bit more illusionary.
So I would say to looking up, being awake in the dream, being as lucid as we can is part of this transition you're talking about.
Absolutely.
And is there certain things we could look for in that dream world to as an assistant, a guide?
Follow the formula. Synchronicity is the organizing principle that will guide you.
What's happening on your world as you observe our reality? Is there sort of a similar parallel, a crisis or turning point in the SSani?
There are always turning points and challenges, but there are no crises. We do not experience things in a fear-based way.
So we wouldn't say this is a crisis either, in a sense, then.
It depends on how you use it. You can recognize that certain things may have contributed to this particular event from a negative point of view. And if you wish to say, well, then that causes a crisis, you can. But at the same time, everything can be used to serve double duty. So it depends on how you use it. We wouldn't necessarily suggest that you label it a crisis if you want to use it in a positive way.
Is there though something going on, I'm saying, paralleling all existence at this point, because we are going through the eye of the needle? Are other civilizations doing similar things?
Yes, some in parallel realities, some in their own realities that have nothing at all to do with you in terms of how it looks. But many civilizations go through their own eye of the needle in a variety of ways, and some do not have that experience. It just depends on the civilization and the theme they are exploring.
And what about your civilization? Can you describe one of your eye of the needle moments?
One of our eye of the needle moments in what you would call our past history would be the 3-day awakening that happened to us when Shakana existed on our planet and allowed us to connect telepathically within that 3-day period, which changed everything in our world.
Is a similar thing possible here?
It is possible, but not probable. Because of the nature of the cycles of the earth, you will go through a particular process and do not in any way, shape, or form deny the validity of that process. You can always render down the need for more processes by taking the threshold of believability test that we have shared with all of you in the past to make sure that you are streamlining yourself down just to the essential processes you need, but you will never eliminate them because process is the point of experiencing physical reality, and some process is necessary for you to rediscover yourself from a new point of view. So don't eliminate all processes, but you can streamline them down to just those essential ones. And when you have done so, then embrace them, because it is those processes that will teach you everything you need to know about who you truly are and how to live in your reality in a much more joyful, creative way.
Right. I do get the sense when you talk about that 3-day period of a vibrational possibility that some people could access.
Some may, but again, don't be desperate about it. Just render down the processes to the least amount that you need and embrace the ones that remain. for they will serve you.
But just to wrap up, our vibration is shifting at this moment due to this time.
For those that are using it in a certain way, the vibration is accelerating upward. For those that are not, the vibration may remain the same or decelerate downward. You cannot speak of all of you, even though all of you may seem to be going through this, as having the same agenda or coming out the other side in the same way. So you have to be specific on a case-by-case basis. You cannot generalize this. Different people will use this in different ways for their own ends.
But it sounds like you're talking about a separation point where those who use it towards their benefit and those who don't will have a more of a split of consciousness here.
Have you never heard us talk about the fact that this is the time of the splitting of the parallel realities into different versions of Earth that is becoming much more crystallized and physicalized?
Yes.
Well, there you go. That's the splitting prism. That's what you're talking about. Your reality is literally cracking into literally different versions of parallel Earths so that you can make a decision. Remember, there are glass walls between all these versions, and just because you can see a version that you're not vibrationally compatible with doesn't mean it has the ability to reach you through the glass wall. So continue with the actions and the behaviors that are more representative of the reality that you prefer, and that's the one you'll be living in regardless of whether or not you can still observe other realities that are not the ones you're in.
Thank you, Bashar, for your time and your assistance.
Again, it is our passion and our pleasure. Thank you for the co-creation of the interaction, and good day.